I posted my story a couple of weeks ago. I received lots of helpful advice and also some vitriol in the chat function. I read all the replies but could not respond to all of them due to time. I ignored the abuse. There are some strange people out there. No idea what your agenda is, but it's water off a duck's back to me. To recap, the timeline is not exact, but the story is. We have been together for over 30 years. We started dating at high school. 2 years ago, my wife and I were going through a rough patch and she had an affair. D-Day was 12 months ago at the start of lockdown. Unbeknown to my wife, I read some of their messages. It appeared as though the physical affair was over, but they were still in contact. I later discovered that he had finished the physical affair 7 months prior to D-Day. Probably because my WS had fallen in love with him and he was never going to leave his wife. She was upset and hurt that he had dumped her, especially as he had told my wife that he loved her. They remained friends and continued to message each other. My wife told him that she could not get him out of her head. This time last year I had never heard of Reddit. I did not know who to ask for help or advice. I know my methods are a bit messed up, but my cunning plan was to try and get the whole truth about the affair and determine if our marriage could be saved. Not an easy thing to do when you cannot believe a word a cheater says. My wife could not see the AP, so I assumed she would contact him using her phone to tell him that I knew about their affair. For the next 6 months whilst we were supposedly trying to fix things, I could without my wife's knowledge see their messages. Some brief highlights are as follows. They both lied to each other and they both blamed each other for the affair. He said their friendship crossed the line and he regretted what they did. My wife never said she regretted the affair. He cherished their moments together but also wanted to try and forget it ever happened, an oxymoron. My wife told him that she hated him and that he had used her, but other times she said that she missed him, also contradictory. She said that she was broken and she could not live with the hurt she had caused me, so at times she did display some signs of remorse. On a number of occasions she said that she would not be able to see him again and she was not going to contact him ever again. A few days later she would message him. During these 6 months, I got myself into great physical shape. There was hysterical bonding. My wife told me that she had made a huge mistake. She wanted a future with me. I meant the world to her. She had fallen back in love with me. I asked her if she could go back in time and change things, what would she do differently? Her reply was to not let a good friendship turn into an affair and fix things between us before the affair started. She told me that she would accept any consequences but begged me not to tell our children what she had done. Our children do not deserve to be hurt. The truth was she did not want them to hate her. On the plus side, my WS did not say anything derogatory about me to the AP. At least not from the messages I have read, but she must have said stuff about our marriage to him previously. He said things like, "I hope you can correct the things that were wrong between you. I hope you can move forward," etc. On the negative side, my WS told him that I loved her and she was going to be okay, but she never said to the AP that she loved me. At one point she got angry with the AP and said, "All I need is my children." She never said that she needed me or loved me. 6 months ago, I thought reconciliation was going to be impossible. I rang a lawyer to discuss my options. My wife eavesdropped on some of the conversation. I don't know how much she heard, but this was the wake-up call she obviously needed. At this point her attitude changed and she finally broke off contact with the AP. I set some boundaries and consequences. The main one being, no contact under any circumstances, otherwise I will divorce her. She agreed to all my conditions. Given all the messages I had read between them, I was doubtful that she would not contact him again, but for 5 months she maintained NC and things seemed to be going in the right direction between us. A few weeks ago, my wife discovered from a mutual friend of theirs that the AP has an incurable disease. I thought she would contact him and sure enough she has done. She has betrayed my trust yet again. The messages were innocent enough to begin with. She sent him positive thoughts. She hoped the treatment would be a success, but then she said, "Get better soon and look forward to seeing you soon." And the final dagger into my broken heart. WS, one last thing. Do you regret meeting me? AP, no. WS, good, me neither. That's all folks. I am done with her. There is nothing left worth fighting for. I know divorce is going to cause me and our children hurt and financial hardship. I know she has mental issues, but she is not willing to get help and I cannot force her. I know there is no point wasting any additional time trying to understand her actions, but I still wonder how she could do this to me and our children. I am going to speak to a lawyer again, this time without her knowing, and get her served. I hope to get joint custody of our children. The starting point for the split of our financial assets will be 50/50, but I want to try and get more than this by hook or by crook. I will be receiving some inheritance once the house of my deceased relative is sold. I also have Bitcoin that I purchased a few years ago and the value of this has increased to a nice amount of money. I also have a large pension pot. Is it possible to prevent my STBXW getting her hands on the proceeds? Edit. Thanks everyone for your replies. Some really helpful info. I am in the UK. I will try and answer as many questions as I can. Caught my wife sexting her best friend's husband for 1+ year. Okay, ready to drop this roller coaster of a story and get some opinion. So, I have caught my wife 2 times before sexting with exes, either wild cuckolding fantasies or dick pics and lying about meeting up with an ex. She is still in contact with all on social media, I found out. I feel some distance between us the last few weeks and tried to talk about it. Was brushed away as nonsense. I see she's still following dick pic ex on Instagram and have a bad feeling. Though I feel terrible about it, I check her WhatsApp on her laptop and found out she is sexting for at least a month with the husband of her best friend, who is 6 months pregnant with their second child. They were talking about having sex in the shower on our upcoming holiday and made plans last month to fuck in a parking lot. I confront her about it. She denies and says I'm seeing things. I'm overly jealous. I say I have screenshots from the last couple of weeks of their chats, and finally she confesses to have sent a couple of naughty texts. I have her call her best friend to confess everything and she's in shock. She admits to having an addiction to get other males' attention stemming from low self-esteem. We have been together for 13 years, married for 7, 2 kids. I have given her everything, have given up most of my social life as she runs a dance school and is a part-time gymnastic trainer. Next to her regular teaching job, she swears it's only texting, and everything is a lie she told him. It's part of a game to edge each other on. She admits to sending pics, but only fully clothed. C normally sees him multiple times a week. She is also in contact with Sextaffaire number 1 and talking about it with current Sextaffaire to judge him worthy of her attention. She is unwilling to cut him out of her life, because she's not giving up her friendship or her gymnastics job, of which this guy is also head of. For the sake of the kids, I give marriage counseling a go. But for the last 3 weeks she flips between sort of remorse and blaming me and telling me she's not a lapdog begging for forgiveness, and how I can never be thrusted, because I checked her laptop. Her best friend, who of course also got cheated on, has forgiven her in 2 weeks' time and they are besties again. I've informed her family, and while her parents are angry at her, to also tell me to stop being childish and get over it for the sake of the kids. Tonight I sat down with her and I want a divorce. I have had enough and I'm done.